I tell you what, man, I really like that intro music. There's
That's
nothing
pretty
like
good.
getting hyped up right before you go live. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike Polite. I am one half of WooGarage and Follow Up Engine. And joining me today is Mr. Chad Lukens, the other half of WooGarage. And today, we're
The
going to
better
answer
half.
a question.
I'm the better half.
I'll, you know what? Yeah, I'll agree to that. Okay, so today we're going to answer the question that we've been getting the most of since we introduced the 997 WooSender offer, and that is, why is it so cheap? Why are you guys doing this? So, Chad, any thoughts on why this is so cheap and why we're doing this offer?
Well, the why we're doing the offer is because we want you guys to have an affordable way to see the power of what WooSender can do, um, without a huge upfront commitment and cost, and just give you a sense of really, even if you can't yourself fully flesh it out the way we would do it for our customers, even a simple version of that, how much difference it makes. I remember using WooSender before we had libraries and AI attached to it, and it was pretty much just like, automatic. It would just stop every time you would respond, and just that alone, and having different pipelines that would automatically go through to have messaging, and the way that was built from the beginning made a huge difference in our sales efforts.
Right.
Even if that's all you're doing, there's a huge value in WooSender. And realistically, you need to start somewhere, right? And as far as the price, I mean, the monthly price is the monthly price. It's not any different. It's $1,000 and $997, pretty much what you would get from WooSender. Basically, the difference is we don't have a setup fee. We just set up a basic pipeline that we're going to launch for you, and that's pretty much. And we don't have salespeople dealing with it. I mean, you just go online. You can see startup.woogarage.com on the screen. You go live there, and you go to that site, and you're going to be able to sign up, and we'll get you in the pipeline to get your account, and then you're off to the races.
Yeah, and we try to explain that a little bit here on the website, but the conversations from the people who have questions about it, and they they just go down here and they book a call, and it's typically me who takes that 15-minute call. The conversations that we have there are people just really asking, like, okay, well, what's the difference? What am I not getting? And so that's where I spend most of my time talking to people about what it is that they're actually not getting with this offer. Specifically, we're not going to be doing the setup work for you. This is something that you're going to be doing yourself, but we're going to help you out, because what we include with this is a template of what it is that we actually use internally, and what we build, what we do for all of our white glove clients, what we use to build. It's like the foundation of everything that we build is what you're going to get in a template form when you sign up for this particular offer. But Chad has his reasons for why he wanted to do this. I have mine, and mine are actually a little bit more selfish, because here's kind of what ideally would happen for folks who use this offer to get access to the software. You come in and you get access to WooSender, you do the template, and you start running it at your leads. You start having it respond to your inbound leads from your forms or from your ads or wherever it is that you're getting them from, your database. And it works for you. And you start to see the results in your business, and you're making more money. You're overcoming that hurdle, that bottleneck of appointment setting, and it's starting to work really well for you. And then you want to do something else. Now, during this period of time that it's been working for you, you've been coming into the lives that Chad and I are doing, and we have the rest of the team coming and doing these lives as well. You're in our Facebook group getting tips and tricks on how to get the absolute best out of your WooSender account. So when it comes time for you to build something bigger, who are you going to trust to do that build? Who are you going to want to pay to actually do that build? Hopefully, it's Chad and Mike, the guys over at WooGarage, right, Chad?
That's right. I mean, basically, this gives you the opportunity. There is a certain amount of scale that we can provide, but there's a segment of the population of business owners who aren't quite. They don't have the lead flow that we would need to service them properly, or they they aren't, their sales process isn't quite refined. But WooSender can help with that growth, right? Like, so,
Mm-hmm.
what we have kind of worked on is like, well, how do we give them access to this? Obviously it's not a white label situation, or a white glove, I should say, situation where they're ready for everything. But the software could still be incredibly useful and helpful. And this is the solution that we came up with, where we're going to give you the same thing, the basics, the kernel of what everything we build, basic viable loop, give you the keys to the kingdom. You have access to support with WooSender. You have access to all their support docs, the weekly training calls that they have. We will be in the near future starting our own, or they have daily training calls. We'll be starting our weekly training calls. That's basically there for people like to have specific questions on a specific build that we're using, on how we're doing it. So that's the basics of why we're doing this. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that answers the question. We're doing it
yeah,
to get you access, and I mean, there's some selfish reasons here too, because we're hoping that you see the value in connecting with us and working with us. Should the need for our bigger service actually arise in your business, right? That's the whole idea.
absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So now we get to move on to the other topic that we were here to talk about today, and that is over automation. When
Yeah.
people are actually doing too much automation in their business, and some very simple steps that you can take to make sure that you're not over automating in your business. So, what does it look like when you over automate in a business, Chad?
Well, over automation can take several forms. One is you never launch, right? You're constantly building the automations to make everything work just right, and you're sitting there spinning your wheels, and you don't get your landing page up, and you haven't run ads, and you haven't done all this other stuff because you're so tight trying to tighten that process out. So there's that where it's the failure to launch, right? The other thing is that you automate to the point where it's so obvious that you're automating that it actually drives people away. I mean, AI is a wonderful tool. It isn't quite to the point where you could put it in place and have it just have a beautiful sales conversation that closes for you, right? We're not there yet, right?
Right.
So there is a balance between that human touch and uh, and the automation. And what the way automation works now, and the analogy I would use is, have you ever seen those big old exoskeletons, right? Guys jump into those exoskeletons like Ripley and Aliens or whatever, right? Where they jump
Mhm.
into this big device to help them augment. They're built to fit around your body, but they allow you to lift 500 pounds without much effort, right? Um, and that's really what automation's there for. It's there to scale your ability to manage all this stuff. It takes manual processes, and has them happen automatically. So instead of a person being hired, the system does what a person can do, right? And I think that you know um, automation can make you more power. It gives you a superpower. It gives you the ability to handle more than you possibly could. Um, and um, I'm trying to remember. There's a quote that I heard, which is, and I think you put it up on your post. Let me see if I can remember it correctly. Um, if you need
Oh, the empathy and understanding.
Yeah. So if you need, that's what it is. If you don't need empathy and you don't need understanding, that's automation, right?
Hmm.
If you don't need empathy, but you need understanding, then that's AI, right? And then people are the last part of it. That's right. Thanks for that clue, that hiccup. I brain fart. But basically that's kind of where you draw the line. So that's why you can't have AI close for you. But what you can have AI do, what you can have automation do is, hey, are you there? I haven't heard from you in a while, right? Oh, you asked me to
Hmm.
follow up in a month. Well, we can put them in automated campaigns with, responses that say, hey, you asked me to reach back out in a month. I'm here, because what happens is, as salespeople and as businesses in general, things get in the way. And yeah, we have that list that's $5, or that we got to follow up on um, for us to be able to close that deal, but we forget. We lose with some other a client emergency, a currently paying customer gets in the way, of you
Hmm.
following up. Especially long-term follow-ups. I mean, a month to 3 months out, that's hard to keep on top of, right? Because it's just
Right.
you're always working.
Because you
Because here's the
forget and
thing.
you have other stuff going on, and
Yeah, I mean,
life happens, and yeah,
life happens,
absolutely.
and how much of your personal time can you afford to push? How many hot prospects are there who are actually engaging with you now, for you to sit and go and reach out to 100 people who have said follow up in a month, right? Like, you have to
Right.
do that calculus in your head. Is it worth that effort? Well, now with automation, you don't have to worry about it. It will start that series again. And then if they start engaging, great, then you can take over and have that conversation. Um,
Right.
yeah.
So I actually did think about this, because and that quote is actually from our friend Nick Samenta,
Nick Samantha, that's right.
where he actually was talking about, and this is where I said it in the post: when you don't need empathy or understanding, use automation. When you don't need empathy but you need understanding, use AI. When you need empathy and understanding, use a human.
Yep.
Right. And I got to thinking about that because of this little clip that I clipped here from the YouTube trailer for that movie Megan. I think we may have talked about it a little bit, because I did
Right.
not like that movie at all. I didn't think it was going to be good, and it was like, I think we really only watched it because of this dance scene being in the trailer. Like, we thought it might be interesting. It was not. Nobody should watch this movie, but they did have an interesting kind of philosophical kind of conversation there between a couple of the characters, where she said, and this was kind of Megan's deal, the creator said that she could let Megan, the automation, the AI, take care of the kid while she took care of the things that mattered. And it's like, oh, so your kid doesn't matter, right? Really, it's kind of campy. And, I'm not that I'm not into campy movies, but it was a little, but I did, think about that because the positive impact on that is that you can automate and even use AI to take care of the more mundane, repetitive, and even dangerous tasks that humans can do, but aren't necessarily great at and probably shouldn't. Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, humans are consistently inconsistent, right?
Hmm.
And I mean, that's the, one of the few things you can rely on is that anybody you're working with is not going to be consistent, right? I mean, there's obviously some people who are more consistent than others, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We're inconsistent by nature, whereas machines are 100% consistent, right? Minus, well, 99.99, right? Um, like,
They're gonna do it whether it's wrong or right. They will
yeah,
do it
but I
100% of
mean,
the time.
but I'm just talking like downtime and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, machines are consistent. So, and really, when it comes down to sales, when it comes down to marketing and things like that, consistency is key. Making sure that you are on a daily basis talking to as many people as you can, right? It ends up being a numbers game. And the thing is that with
Mhm.
automation, those numbers can get larger. It's easy to handle 3 to 500 conversations on a daily basis, right? With,
Right.
when you're managing it through, say, one of our pipelines. right? The reason being is I'm not doing it all, right? I don't have to keep on top of it. I don't have to remember from one conversation to another what all these basic mundane responses are there.
Mhm.
All the basics, like if I'm trying to get you on an appointment, that's not a conversation that I could say, hey, talk to my assistant and she'll get you on my schedule,
Right.
right? If I can do that, if I can hand off what I'm doing to someone else and
Mhm.
nobody's going to squawk about it, then AI can handle it. Then automation can handle it, right?
Right.
Because that relationship isn't necessary for the function to happen, right? And there's
Got it.
other ways you use automation. I mean, we're talking heavily on sales right now, but there's other items like, automating, between software systems like your CRM and your project management system. Some people, sometimes you can buy both and they're perfect for doing both. One thing does everything.
Mhm.
um but it really just depends on your flavor, and it depends on how much you need to be able to control, right? Because the best CRM isn't always going to be the best product for building landing pages, for building, and almost no CRMs. In fact, I honestly cannot think of a CRM that's any use when it comes to project management. um, when the actual CRM product. I mean, there's companies that have both, right? Zoho is one of the ones I'm thinking of where they have pretty much a software for almost everything, but the
Mhm.
CRM itself is not a very functional project management. They have a project management app that you can get. But that's a perfect example where how do you tie those together? How do I make sure that my status is in my software package or in my CRM, or my project management software gets communicated, right? And
Right.
again, different, some will have that built in, but then again, what you end up having is what I call, it's scope creep, right? So how many software packages are you going to manage? Like,
Mhm.
so you kind of have to pick, right? Like, and look at your processes, look at your organization and say, okay, what is, and start with the most critical component, right? I mean, obviously in our industry, outreach, sales automation, building, landing page, things like that are incredibly important. So we have a software that we're leveraging for all of that. And then communication, direct sales communication. So there's a sales component to the software. Then we have project management, and we got about 3 applications that do that across the board, and we can automate it. So I'm changing statuses in my project management, which we'll get into later. Um, and when those statuses go out, they go out to our communication tool and automatically say what we want them to say, so that we don't have to sit there and spend our time with routine and redundant communication, right? We just need the
Right.
customers to know where they're at in the sales process, right? That we,
Right.
or not sales process, but implementation process, or sales, but implementation is what I'm talking about. And so
So
that's where,
ultimately, it's one of those things where you can find yourself in a situation where there's so much out there. There's so many different softwares out there that can handle virtually every problem. But at the end of the day, you don't want to necessarily use those softwares to replace the people part of your business. What you want to do is use those softwares to enhance what your people are able to do,
right,
right? So with, for example, with our white glove service, or even with just giving people access to the different software that we may prefer or use in these situations, we're not coming into business and saying, hey, we're going to replace all your appointment setters, right? What we're coming into doing is say, hey, think of what we're doing as like an Iron Man suit for your appointment setters. It makes it so that they can do more in the same period of time, and not necessarily be doing more work themselves, but they're able to accomplish and complete more tasks because the AI and the automation is supporting them be able to do it. They're more or less now just directing the suit to do the work. Does that kind of make sense?
yeah, that's exactly it. You know, um, you can just say, "Hey Jarvis," and it goes off and does its thing, right? To use your Marvel reference. So please, Disney, do not sue us. We're sorry.
I don't think they're going to sue us. We haven't done anything bad.
I used the name Jarvis.
You did use the name Jarvis. We don't use the name Jarvis in any of our automations.
No, we don't. But it was a callback to your Iron Man reference.
Disney, if you are going to sue Chad. No. Okay. It doesn't look like we've gotten any questions in here just yet. Chad, any closing thoughts before we shut this one down?
No, just if you have any questions or you're interested, the links are in the comments. And feel free to jump on the next time we have a live stream and add the questions into the comments, and we'll answer them as best we can.
All right, fantastic. Well, for WooGarage, I'm Mike, and that's Chad. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.